Thank you. I've been called much worse. I love being here. I really love being in this beautiful church surrounded by my friends. This is my 20th year already. Yeah. So in the spirit of Thanksgiving, the festival of gratitude, I decided to speak tonight about the virtue of complaining. And the reason is that I meet people, I ask, how are you doing? More and more people respond by, can't complain. Now, I don't know if it's because English is not my first language or because I just take everything literally. I think, what do you mean you cannot complain? It means that you lack the physical or mental capacity to complain. The first thing that a baby does is complaining. You don't even need words to do it. You just twist your mouth, face, move your cute feet and hands, make this annoying sound, and everyone knows you're complaining. You know, some people think that babies complain because it's too cold. Some people think because they are hungry. I have a different theory. At least for the babies who were born in the past decade, most of them spent 9 months in their mother's womb listening to Taylor Swift singing. Now, logically, they deduce that their mother is Taylor Swift. And then they get out. The nurse holds them facing this woman lying on bed. She might be very nice, but she's not Taylor Swift. So we obviously have the capacity to complain. So you may say, no, yes, we can complain, but we're people of faith, and God doesn't want us to complain. Well, let me tell you something. I'm also a person of faith. I read the Bible many times over, including the parts of Leviticus with all these pus and leprosy and stuff that you always skip. And believe me, God is a major complainer. From the very beginning, first dialogue God has with human beings, Adam and Eve, what is God doing? You shouldn't have eaten this fruit. They told you not to eat the fruit. Why did you eat the fruit? And then some years later, now there are many people on earth, God comes to visit, looks at them, and he complains about each and every person in the world, except of one, Noah. Noah was righteous, at least until he discovered wine, and then things got a little bit complicated. But then God brings down the flood. Now, even God realized that there are so many problems that he couldn't do it all by himself. So God decided to appoint some professional complainers. Only that it's not nice to call them like that. So the Bible calls them prophets. Now, I'm sure that all of us clergy use the prophets a lot. We like to quote some nice verses here and there. But when you really read the prophets, and some of these books are really long, it's mostly complaining. So I don't believe that God doesn't want us to complain. So why does complaining have such bad reputation? My theory is that we are lately so obsessed with the notion of gratitude. Almost every article you read, every podcast you listen to, seems like cultivating gratitude is the cure for everything, from depression to heart illnesses. Gratitude is really good and important. But many of these articles say that complaining is the opposite of gratitude, and this is wrong. You know what is the opposite of gratitude? Ingratitude. Complaining is something else. And I believe that sometimes it's healthy and good. There are three reasons why we complain. One of them is bad. The other are not bad at all. So let me start with the bad one, okay? We complain in order to put somebody down to feel better about ourselves. Normally, this kind of complaints begin with a line such as, "Can you believe these idiots?" And idiots are everywhere. Idiots in the government, on the school board, in your workplace. What you're actually saying is that I'm so much better than them. If I were in their position, I would have done things so much better. This is bad complaining. Don't do that. One of the most important books of the 20th century is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. It was the inspiration for the TV series Smash. And the main character there is Captain Yossarian. And in one of the episodes, the nurse is trying to convince Yossarian to be grateful. And he doesn't want to be grateful. And she says, "You should be grateful that you're healthy." And he said, "You should be bitter that it's not going to last." She continued, "At least be glad that you're alive." He said, "No, you should be infuriated that you're going to die." He said, "But things can always be worse. Or they can be much better," he responded. So these are the bad complainers. You don't want to be one of them. You don't want to become a chronic complainer, because the truth is that it changes your brain. It teaches you to see negativity everywhere. So this is the bad part. But there are two good reasons to complain. The first one is you look around and you are dissatisfied with the state of things. For example, you read an article in the paper that in the United States of America, between 30 and 40% of the food goes to waste. Yes, you heard it right. More than 1/3 of the food goes to waste in our country. And you also read that there are tens of millions of people only here, I'm not talking about the whole world, who suffer from food insecurity. So you complain about it, not just to hear your voice, but as a call for action. You want people to know and said, "Wow, let's do something about it." This is the kind of complaining that God was doing. This is the kind of complaining that the prophets were doing. They were complaining about things that are not right, encouraging people to change, to improve, to fix. So yeah, complaining is good. But there is another reason that we complain. And this is simply the need to vent. There is a better Yiddish word for venting. It's called kvetching. It is. Why is venting good, unless you do it all the time? First of all, because it's better to get things out than to keep them in. It's not healthy to keep things in. But also, it's often a call for help. You talk to your neighbor and said, "Oh my God, my back is killing me, I can hardly move." She may say, "No, this afternoon I'm going to Publix. Can I get you something?" So not everyone feels comfortable to ask for help, but by complaining, we give more than a hint that we need help. And this is good. This is the way cultures and societies should work. The other reason that we complain is to bond with people. If you find yourself in a party and you don't know anyone, all you have to do is to start complaining about the insanity of tipping lately. Everyone will talk to you. All you have to, I'll tell you how to start. You know, I remember that I used to go to a restaurant, and if the service was good, I would give 15%, and then it was 18%, and now it's 20%. But now wherever I go, they give me just one tip, even if I get no service. Try it. People would laugh, because everyone has something to contribute to this conversation, which is true. In the early 1930s, not the best times in America or in the world, during the Depression, there were people who encouraged the foundation of a new holiday, Blamesgiving. They say, you know, things are so bad. How can we be thankful? Let's try something new. Luckily, it didn't catch, because this is the bad kind of complaining, sorry. Now, before you complain, remember, you have to earn the right to complain. I'll give you an example. In a short time, we're all going to the lobby to eat cookies. That's what we do. Now, if you take a bite and the cookie is disgusting, if you did not contribute anything to the spread, shut up. Don't say a word. No, seriously. Don't even spit it into a napkin thinking that nobody can see you. We do. However, if you have been slaving for a week, baking cookies from scratch, and you take a bite and realize that that was a cheap cookie from Costco that somebody repackaged, not only that you have the right to complain, you have the obligation, and do it with your entire body. Just sticulate. How dare you? Which leads me to my last point for tonight. I know for a fact that none of you prepared the sermon for tonight. So you have absolutely no right to call your friends and say, I cannot believe this crazy rabbi decided to talk about complaining on Thanksgiving. You didn't earn it. But if somebody asks you, well, how was the sermon tonight? The worst you can say is, can't complain. Happy Thanksgiving.